2NURFM News. For our sponsor, Tile Warehouse Warners Bay. Open 7 days for your convenience.
It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Annabelle Regan with 2NURFM Hunter News. Police have issued a description of a man who robbed the Head and Greeter Hotel last night at gunpoint. The man, armed with a shotgun, entered the Main Road pub at about 8 and threatened the manager. He escaped with a sum of cash in a getaway car which was waiting outside. Police say he was wearing a dark hooded jumper with a white bandana across his face and gardening gloves. A man is due to face court later this month accused of indecently assaulting a little girl at Cessnock. It's alleged the 18-year-old approached the 4-year-old girl in the play area of the Cessnock Library last Wednesday and kissed and touched her before a witness intervened. Sergeant Dave Rhodes says the alleged offender has since been arrested and charged.
Detectives from the Child Abuse Squad at Newcastle commenced investigations and arrested an 18-year-old man at Cessnock Police Station on Friday afternoon. He was charged with aggravated indecent assault, granted conditional bail to appear at Cessnock Local Court on Wednesday the 20th of May.
Lake Macquarie Council is considering new development guidelines such as height controls for new buildings and a new public plaza for Warners Bay in a vote tonight. An 8-storey car park has been proposed in one site behind the town's main street. Several other sites would be allowed 5- and 6-storey buildings under the plan. A council report said the proposed heights were appropriate based on the strategic objectives for town centres, along with growth and demand. Warners Bay Chamber of Commerce President Les Binkin says that it will encourage an increase in tourism to the area.
Probably the main thrust of this is, for me, and our chamber, is to generate accommodation of quality that can be the draw card for events to come to Lake Macquarie and to be on the water in Lake Macquarie. That's the biggest thing.
Developers behind the Hunter Corporate Park in Tomago insist the $50 million project will go ahead, despite Council's withdrawal of the proposal last week. Under-resourced planning authorities are said to be a concern, as well as the potential impacts to endangered wildlife and Sandbed's drinking water catchment. The development will likely generate over 2,500 jobs and contribute between $300 and $450 million a year to the state economy. Development manager Chris Leck says the setback will not be the end of the project.
We're very confident that we'll be able to work through these issues. We're disappointed that it's taken so long for the authorities to clarify their position with the submission, but we're confident that we can work through them to resolve them before we resubmit.
A 42-year-old woman stung by a wasp at Lugana Public School this morning has been flown to John Hunter Hospital. She was administered with 3 EpiPens at the scene and is now in a stable condition. Glenn Rampin from Westpac Helicopter Rescue says she suffered a severe allergic reaction.
The helicopter was called out to the Laguna Public School. A 42-year-old female has been stung by a wasp out there and suffered a very bad allergic reaction.
Pedestrians and cyclists are now back on the Fernley track after it was closed for 2 weeks following storm damage. Council workers have spent the last fortnight cleaning and removing fallen trees. Some pathways in the Greenpoint Reserve have also been reopened this week. In finance, the All Ords is up 2.9 points at 56.38 and $1 Australian dollar is buying 78.81 US cents.
Sport for our sponsor, newcastlecheapestcars.com.au.
Cardiff Hawks product Isaac Heaney may miss 4 to 6 weeks of the Sydney Swans AFL season after being sidelined with a knee injury. The 19-year-old landed heavily, damaging his posterior cruciate ligament in the second term of the Swans' 38-point win over Melbourne on Saturday. Merriweather surfer Philippa Anderson has secured the Siargao International Women's Surfing Cup in the Philippines with a winning total of 15.3 during the 40-minute final. The Hunter Hurricanes have finished their National Water Polo League season, securing 3rd place in the competition with a 13-7 victory over the Drummoyne Devils. The Newcastle North Stars have had their first loss of the Australian Ice Hockey League season, going down 4-3 to Melbourne. And both the Newcastle Hunters men's and women's teams have suffered losses in the latest round of the Waratah Basketball League. The women and men were defeated 58-55 and 72-69 respectively by the Hornsby Spiders. That's sport. I'm Jacinta Lee.
2NURFM News Time is 2:05.